Okay, I'll throw Spencer in if we get Fran. Bam, we're live. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the winners of the 2022 CrossFit Games, featuring Brian Friend, John Young, Sevan Podcast, and C Beaver on the back end. C Beaver on the back end. Brian with a hamburger. Brian is in Madison. John is somewhere in the middle of the country. Caleb is in an undisclosed location. Caleb, you look tan.
Getting a little dark out here.
It's interesting. It's interesting. Interesting. Lauren Khalil, Chase Ingram, and Adrian Conway did this show a few hours ago, and they started the show by saying, Lauren Khalil started the show by saying that we are on the heels of the CrossFit Games. I think what she meant to say is we are on the heels of the Sevan Podcast. I think that's what she meant to say. It is becoming extremely suspicious that every time I have a guest or an idea, they go up an hour or two or three or four before me. Drat it. I'd like to say that after watching that, I realized that I am the only person in the CrossFit space besides Justin's parents that say his name right. His name is Justin Medeiros. It's not Medeiros, but those are the kinds of things that you expect to get correct, and that's why you guys are tuned in here, especially you, Ron Sutton, MLK 5240, CrossFit Corey, Elise Carr, Ridow, Brandon Waddle, etc. Yes, John, were you going to say something?
No.
You kind of leaned in. You gave me a nonverbal cue.
I'm just looking at other things. Sorry.
To make sure quality control is in place, we've brought John Young so that Brian, we know Brian's been getting carried away with his picks and just fucking choosing every Tom, Dick, and Harry. And so we brought John Young in to keep him in check. And we shall see if that works. Brian, do you feel confident with your picks?
Much more confident in the women than the men.
Okay. John, do you feel confident in your picks?
Yeah, similar to Brian, but yeah, I'm confident in both of them. I took a risk.
I'll just say this men's field was the most difficult field of athletes that I think I've ever ranked for any CrossFit competition.
And why is that?
There's more people.
There's a lot of depth, and there's a lot of depth at, like throughout the leaderboard. So even in the, I would say up through like 33 or 4 guys, I was still like really not just having a hard time with 1 or 2, but like there were groups of 4 or 5 that I was like, man, on any given weekend, I don't like any of these guys could beat all of this group of people.
So when John, you say there's more people, you mean there's more people who are good, because it is the same amount of guys, right? Yeah,
there's more people who are viable for the podium, who are viable for top 10 and the guys for sure. And then even the top 20, it's just different. There's different people, different newcomers, and people who have been banned, people who have tried to come for 4 years and couldn't. There's a lot of different people.
So based on how people are at previous CrossFit competitions where you've seen them compete, this is a really tight race.
Yeah.
But not at the very
bottom.
Really. Okay, let me just ask this: who do you have as your winner at the very, very top, John?
I got Patrick Vellner.
Is that just to make controversy, or that's a serious?
No, I got him to. It's very close, and then I just picked who I wanted to win if it was close. I tried to see if I could make any kind of an argument that Vellner could beat Justin, and I felt like it was really close whenever I looked at the events last year, and Vellner beat Medeiros more than Medeiros beat him, 8-7. He took it off the gas in the last event, so that point spread would have been close. And Vellner's been swimming with Ryan Lochte.
Really? Is that true? Is that true?
I don't. Is that beneficial,
ahead,
or does he just? Is that beneficial, or did he just increase some drinking game?
No, they're in the pool together on Instagram. And 3 days with Ryan Lochte is better than not 3 days without Ryan Lochte. And it's the swim event's in the pool. All of this benefits Vellner. So I was like, man, if it's close, I want Vellner to win. And I took a chance on Annie last year, and it paid off for me huge. And I'm doing the same with Vellner this year.
Ryan Stephen Lochte, born August 3rd, 1984, is an American professional swimmer and 12-time Olympic medalist. Along with Natalie Kaufman, Dara Torres, and Jenna Thompson, he is the second most decorated swimmer in Olympic history, measured by a total number of medals behind only Michael Phelps. 7 individual Olympic medals. Wow. Vellner was like, they just ran into each other at the pool, or like Lochte's hey.
He's had multiple posts on Instagram with Lochte.
Tier. Through tier.
That's the TYR thing. Those are the rubber bands or the
Same
tape
company.
or gloves, pads, hand. What do they make? Grip pad, pull up. What is it? What do those guys make?
They make tons of stuff.
They make a lot of gym equipment.
They're now his sponsor, his main apparel sponsor.
I thought they made pull-up grips.
What?
I thought Tier made what are those things called? You slip your 2 fingers through them, and then it's got the thing that dangles and flaps around.
They might eventually, but as far as I know, they do not now.
Wow, look at this. Much love from Goose Island CrossFit. I think we talked about them the other day. Much love. Oh, that's where you did the workout.
Yeah.
Much love from Goose Island CrossFit. Rachel Laporte. Who do you have number 1, Brian?
I won't pick anyone other than Justin Medeiros until someone shows me they can beat Justin Medeiros.
How about Justin Medeiros?
He's my pick.
Okay. Justin Medeiros it is.
Did you like how I said it?
Yeah, I did. And I say that because Adrian Conway had Saxon. He had Justin Medeiros as number 1, but he had Saxon as number 2 and Fikowski as 3.
I'm sure we'll have a chance to talk about Saxon and Fikowski.
Okay. All right. Can we go, Brian? Can we just dig into your Instagram and just start working our way down from the top to the bottom?
Yeah.
And since I don't have John Young's list in front of me. John, do you have your list? And you just tell us who you have in these places also, and I'll write it down and I'll start instigating shit. We're talking about
if you can, the strength and weakness document, it's in that document if you're able to pull that up. But I have it in front of me too, so either way works.
Just email it to me, John.
All right, Caleb.
Number 1, Justin Medeiros. But it's interesting. You're saying the exact same thing Chase did. Your argument is, what have you done for me lately? You're the winner, so I'm going to pick you as the winner until proven otherwise.
Well, yes, but
there's more than that, right?
Yeah. His competition performance starting last year at the games through semifinals of this year, every competition that he's done, he's been the best guy in it. I'm specifically talking about live competitions, and he's been increasingly impressive in each one relative to the next closest competitor. So what I mean by that is he beat Vellner at the games by about 80 points over 15 events. He beat Hopper at the semifinals by the same number of points over 6 events. So he's putting that margin against the field he's competing against in a much smaller number of events. I also think based on, he doesn't put a ton of stuff out there for people to see what he's doing throughout the year. Vellner posts a lot of his workouts, a lot of his training sessions, but Justin doesn't do that so much. So you have to do a little bit more digging or know the right people to kind of find out what's going on with Justin in terms of his training. But everything that I've heard is suggestive of a better version of Justin Medeiros than last year at the games.
2 things you didn't mention, but that I think you definitely thought of is his coach, Adam Knifer. Totally stable, crazy stable situation. Added an athlete, Ellie Turner, to the mix, who Justin, at least from what we've heard, is extremely happy with and has helped his training and his age. How old was he last year?
23. I think he's 24 now.
So we have to assume he got significantly better. By significantly, I mean within the margins of his level.
Yeah, well, he didn't win with this random display of performances. He was mostly consistent. He had a couple below average and a couple up top 3 finishes. But so when that happens, you can hone in on things in the off season much more easily. Like he could pick a couple of things specifically to try to improve over the course of this year. And I think that he's been successful in the pursuits of those couple of things.
John, when you pick Patrick Vellner and then we start the show, does part of you go like, fuck, I don't really want to argue this?
No, I love to argue it.
Okay. Give it to me. Give it to me.
Well, I mean,
Because here,
I
let me just say this. Let me say this while I think you're behind the 8 ball before you dig in.
Okay.
If you had to pick Patrick last year, I'd have been like, okay. Because I know Patrick is smart. He's kind, but he's extremely intimidating in his own way. He has incredible presence and confidence. And there's a casualness to him that could mislead his opponents. And I could see him maybe like possibly taking the edge by head fucking Medeiros. But now Medeiros has got to win. And so like at 2 wins.
He got him at Rogue.
Okay. You're right. 2 wins, a CrossFit Games champion. He's going as the fittest. And I just have to think that like psychologically, Justin's in a better place and Patrick's in a lesser place.
Psychologically, like how?
Justin's the champ. Any doubt he had of whether he could beat the great Pat Vellner is now gone. And any thoughts
that takes away a little fire?
Okay. Okay. Maybe. Okay.
You know, Matt and Rich both had incredibly humiliating losses when everybody thought they were going to win. And then that fired them up to be unbeatable. Justin did not have that. He came in and he won, and he didn't really, I don't know if he expected to win or not, but everything has been a perfect run for him. He's not run into any adversity thus far as in a competition goes. And I mean, that's credit to him. His execution on events is flawless. That's a trait of his that's really good. But if you look at Vellner's last day in 2021 game.
Well, Justin Medeiros was born in like Lodi or Stockton. That's pretty fucked up. But anyway, go on. Sorry.
The last day in 2021 for CrossFit Games, Vellner was first, and then it didn't matter because Justin was too far ahead. And then he just didn't try. And he wasn't first in the yoke. I think the yoke was the first event that day. But he was like
Vellner's event finishes it was a second, first, and then whatever he took in the final.
Yeah. But
and he was third.
I liked it better the way John said it. First. Why do
he
you
had one of the
second,
greatest
first?
last days there was to have until it didn't matter anymore and he didn't try because it didn't matter. He had second locked up. The last event's kind of just there to be. I just think it's much closer than people want to think. They want to try to make Medeiros into the next Fraser, and I have not seen that from him. He doesn't look like the next Matt Fraser to me. And he could this year, he could win by 130 points, and then he's going to be untouchable. But this is the year for Vellner to win. And if he doesn't win this year, I don't think it will happen. And I think Medeiros will go on a run because I don't see anybody beating him unless Roman makes this huge gain that I don't know about.
What don't you see that Froning and Fraser have? The only thing that I see different is Medeiros has a better coach than either Froning or Matt ever had. He has a better training partner than either Matt or Fraser ever had, and he is better than them all around in comparable metrics.
I would be careful with that statement. I mean, Matt did train with Tia at one point.
That's your job to be careful.
And Rich did train with Matt at one point.
Yeah, and there you go. There's my point. And to be fair, Rich trained with Miko Salo, Dan Bailey, Josh Bridges. Thank you. But Medeiros has a lot of stability in his camp that Matt didn't have.
But I almost think that would work against him if somebody has. Everything is hunky-dory for him. Like there is something to being like, I never want to let this happen to me ever again. Like that can fire up people so much to get so good. And
how many years did Tia and Matt train together? 1, 2?
Since 2018.
Oh, they did train that long together?
Basically 2 years.
2 years.
Yeah.
Look at people pile in.
I mean, the thing that John's saying that is accurate is Medeiros holds the edge over Vellner in terms of execution. And in particular, when I think about Vellner, there are some specific events that he has failed to execute on when it mattered the most in recent competitions, being the last event of semifinals, the last event of Rogue, event 8 at the CrossFit Games last year. Those are the 3 that stand out to me. And event 8 was the handstand walking workout, where he should do well on that. But the points he gave away there, in my opinion, were more detrimental than the points he gave away on the swimming workout. Because that's a workout that Vellner. Because that's a workout where you look at it and you say, he has top 5 potential here. But he kicked up and missed implement after implement after implement in that workout. And Justin didn't. He wasn't as good on paper, but he was better on the field of play. And then last year, Vellner out-snatched him in the snatch event. A couple months later, you go to Rogue, and it's a couple squat snatches at 205 under pressure, and under that pressure, Vellner misses one. And then you come to the final event of Atlas Games, where he's been locked in with Adler, and going back and forth all weekend, vying for the title there. And Pat wants to win the title, and he makes 3 mistakes in a 3-minute workout. And it's like those things, if he cleans those up, if he doesn't have those this week, he will be in the mix to win the games. But the fact that he's consistently had an event like that and Justin hasn't is enough for me to say Justin's the favorite.
And I don't dispute that. I think he is the favorite, but I think it's much closer than people think. And if it's close, I'm going to pick the guy that I want to win. I did the exact same thing with Annie last year. I keep bringing her up because nobody had her finishing that high, and it happened. And so I picked the guy that I want to win, and it's that guy falling off the ladder.
So
right
this
there.
is, ladies and gentlemen, please take a moment to study John Young's pick for the 2022 CrossFit Games champ. Can you guys hear I better turn the volume off. I got shut down last time for that. Here we go. Oh, a little something. He's a bully. Where's he going? Yes. Whoa. Oh my goodness. That's brutal.
That's just something you have to love about Pat, though. He's not afraid to laugh at himself.
No, not at all. He's a cool cat. That's for sure. Okay.
I saw him earlier today and he said, equity hug.
That's good. Tell him to stop worrying about that. Focus
He didn't say that. He didn't say that.
We'll get back to that later. Okay. So in first we got Brian has Justin Medeiros. John Young has Patrick Vellner. Brian, will you be surprised if Patrick Vellner wins?
Pleasantly surprised.
Okay, but surprised. And John, will you be surprised if Justin Medeiros wins?
No.
Okay. I put that up. That was my fault.
I mean,
John.
People know that I'm friendly with Pat Vellner, huge fan of Pat Vellner. I think it would be amazing for his career if he won. I also think that it would be really good for the landscape of the men's division if someone other than Justin won, because we haven't had that in a while, where it's like people trading blows type of situation. It's just like the next guy up and then they win until they leave, and the next guy up and they win until they leave type thing. So I would, I think for the sake of the sport and the competition, anyone that's able to beat Justin this year would be a really positive thing.
I think it's the opposite. I think it's the opposite.
No, it would motivate him to be better. He'd have that adversity that John's talking about, and everyone would then say, like, no, the guy's beatable.
Lance Armstrong. Justin Medeiros is going to be the Lance Armstrong. Sorry, Justin, that doesn't end well for Lance. Bear with me.
I don't think he would want that comparison.
He's going to be the Lance Armstrong of CrossFit. It's repeated winners that help the sport.
I don't know. 2015 through 2017 for the women. You don't remember how exciting
it's rivalries. It's rivalries that people want to see.
For those of us who are invested already, the rivalries are cool. But from the outside, if you want to draw in new people, it's like, hey man, come watch the CrossFit Games.
Are you more excited to watch Tia this year, or are you more excited to watch Laura, Gabby, Haley, Mel, Danielle, Cara vie for the podium?
Yes. And I don't know if that was a yes or no question. I think it's just my way of dodging it. But did Torium Pro sell out because Tia was there? Or did it sell out because people wanted to see the up-and-comer Ellie Turner? Ellie who?
It sold out last year.
Oh. Well, I would give Tia. Oh, did it really?
I think so. They always have good crowds at all competitions.
I know, that you fucked me up.
CrossFit, the CrossFit fans in Australia turn up for competitions.
Oh, I am very excited to watch Tia. I think she's joking, right? Is that what that sweat head means? That she's joking?
I don't know. I mean, the thing is, everyone should be excited to watch Tia, but it's not going to be that fun of a competition. It's just going to be an impressive performance.
Tom Hoffman says rivalries would be better. Yeah, I hope the next Christmas party where you go to, there's 3 Chippendales talking to your wife. Let's see how you like that.
And a menorah in the corner.
Think about this. Think about this. Sevan, say Vellner wins the games this year, and then at Rogue, Roman wins. And then you got the 3 of them going to the CrossFit Games in 2023. You don't think that would be so much fun? It
is. It is. I'm not saying it's a close second for me. Don't get me wrong. I would still enjoy it. But I'm really excited to see the Justin Medeiros dynasty. I'm pumped. Okay, number dose. Can we go back to the slides, Caleb? Number dose.
We've pretty much done 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Adrian said this will be the most exciting games ever, and I cannot disagree. This will be the most exciting games ever, and I say with all humility because the Sevan Podcast is covering it. So he forgot to say that at the end. Okay. Number 2, Patrick Vellner. Brian picks Patrick. Who do you got?
Justin.
Okay. Well, shit. Brian was right. We did know this. Okay. Number 3, Brian.
Number 3, I'm taking Roman Krenikov.
Oh, wait, before we go there, tell me what happened last year when you picked Annie. What was that, John? You were flexing on us a little bit about Annie. Tell me about how that played out last year. What did you tell us? I kind of remember that you had Annie.
I think I wasn't on for last year 2021 games, but at Rogue I picked Annie second, and you all thought I was on crack for having her over Laura, and it ended up that's what happened.
Okay, and was that the same kind of circumstance where you were picking who you liked more?
Yeah.
What's not to like about Laura Horvat? She's so personable, chatty Cathy, and sweet.
I'm pretty sure you're the one who said Annie is CrossFit's darling, right?
No, I didn't, but that's I've heard rumors of such. Okay, Roman Krenikov. Brian, he seems a little unproven to be putting on the podium.
So this is a good example of the difference when I put out power rankings compared to predictions. On my power rankings throughout the season, I'm much more conservative in the way that I place athletes based on the totality of their career. And at the games, I'll take a little bit more risk. And this year, yeah, I'm taking a risk with this pick of Roman. And I'm taking that risk based on basically exactly the opposite of what you're suggesting, is that I think he has set himself up with what competitions he's been able to do over the last 4 years to the point where he has enough competition experience that he'll be well equipped to manage the weekend that is the CrossFit Games. There were certainly going to be some new things that you can't replicate because there aren't any competitions that are this long, this many events, this depth of field of athlete. But I think that Roman can draw on enough competitions that he's been at to have confidence coming in that he can hang with these guys. And, you know, most people haven't really had a chance to see him do any competitive events since probably the last time he competed in Dubai, which he did very well at. But he's been progressing in the things that were the biggest problems for him back then. And in particular, he's been getting stronger while it's seemingly still maintaining his aerobic capacity and gymnastics as he's gained weight. And that's always the check. If you're going to be an athlete that's trying to gain weight and get strong, but your gymnastics suffers at the expense of it, that's a problem. I don't think that's the case for Roman.
I'll be back with a question in 1 second. John, who do you have in number 3?
So I'm going to stipulate we did not look at each other's ranking predictions before we made them. I made mine like 3 weeks ago, and I have Roman Krenikov at 3 as well.
You guys are fucking nuts. You guys.
Let me ask you something.
Okay.
Sevan, do you think Lazar Dukic is good?
Yes.
Fit?
Yes.
Do you think Ricky Garard's fit?
Yes.
Roman beat them by 100 points in Dubai. He's 100 points better than them. It was Roman, and then then Ricky and Lazar, and then
No.
everybody else.
Behind Roman by 100 points was Bjorgman Carl Gudmundsson.
BKG is there too, but Lazar and Ricky were the podium. But yeah,
Oh, you're talking
Lazar,
about this year. I'm talking
this
about
year.
3 years ago.
Yeah, he beat him as well.
Then I'm putting Roman at number 1. I just knocked him in Medeiros out. Okay, but here's the thing. Here's the thing. Let me ask you this about Roman. Let me fuck with your guys' head a little bit. If Roman were outside the top 10, would you be surprised,
Yes.
Brian?
Yes.
If he was out the top 5, would you be surprised?
Yeah. Less surprised, but a little surprised.
If you're asking me what I think his range of finishes are, I would say it's
3 to 6.
I was going to say 3 to 8 or 9.
So it really and okay, and let me go the other way. John, you first. Would you be surprised if Roman Krenikov won the games?
I would be, but I don't put it out of the possibility.
It's not like that shit crazy.
Would be less surprised if you won than if you finished 12th.
Yeah, same.
Wow. Okay, so it really is one of the greatest guys in CrossFit Games history has been sitting on the sidelines for how many years now? Because he couldn't come to the country?
4.
Wow, crazy.
Or 3. This will be 4, I guess.
Crazy.
And his only weak spot is his strength, and he put on 30 pounds. This last year in Dubai, they didn't know who he was because he was so thick. He weighs like 220, and I thought his cardio would suffer, and it hasn't. He beat.
What about those
except
ears? Are those ears aren't going to slow him down on the 3.5 mile run or the swim?
Oh, you'll be excited to see him on that running event.
I bet he wins that event.
Hey, are him and Ricky just going to pull away on that? Like they're just going to be out there just running by themselves, just shooting the shit?
I think Roman will handle the pig a lot better, and then Ricky will run a lot faster, and it'll come down to the Husafel, and I think Roman will carry that better than Ricky. And Fikowski will be in the mix too in that, but that's what I think will happen.
Whew. Okay. Anything else you guys want to say about Mr. Roman before we move on to number 4?
I think Roman's going to make a lot of fans this weekend.
Good.
Yeah. If Roman is basically Ivan Drago if he was likable. He's a monster. And people just don't know him.
Well, we're about to know him. He's going.
I'll tell you
on the
what,
big
I
stage.
saw him at the check-in today, and Artur Semenov is with him. That guy is big too.
I wonder if there's any chance Roman, let's say he wins the games, let's say he does well, if he doesn't go home with the
I think that would call into question Medeiros' last year win.
with the wrist that's interesting. With
You
the
don't think
wrist,
so, Brian?
Well, I mean, there's nothing. You can never take anything away from someone who beat the field that was presented before them.
but it makes for a fun conversation.
But
If
as
Roman
far
wins
as
this
who
year,
is the fittest man in the world, though,
he didn't show up because he was
he
stuck in Russia.
He wasn't there.
Well, we'll find
I
out.
don't think that would have happened. I don't think that's going to happen. But
So you're saying Justin might have been the 4th fittest last year?
Because him, Ricky, and who else? Who else didn't show?
Ricky.
Matt Fraser and Rich Froning weren't there.
He threw.
Justin's really the 5th fittest guy on the planet. Okay. I like your thinking though, John. I like your thinking. Number 4.
If Justin
Ryan.
is watching, I think you are the fittest man in the world right now.
Too
I'm
late.
not
He
trying
hates
to
you.
hate on
Too-
you
too late.
much.
Too late. Number 4, BKG, Bjorgvin Carl Gudmundsson from Iceland.
Yeah. John, who'd you have 4?
I have Brent Fikowski.
Okay. Where'd you have BKG?
I want to say this before
next.
Brian not to have Brent up there. I think he thinks something's wrong with Brent. He knows something.
I
So,
have BKG 5th.
so we have the same top 5. He's just got Justin and Pat flipped, and he's got Brent and BKG flipped. I think that both BKG and Brent Fikowski were competing at the games last year at less than 100%. I think that both guys have taken a very calculated approach to this season with the intention of getting here to the games and trying to win it. I think that both guys believe that they have the chance to win, and I think that both guys do have a chance to podium for sure, like 100%. I don't know if either of them can win, but I think that if you just look at their careers since 2015 for BKG, 2016 for Brent, they are locks at the top of the leaderboard in the CrossFit Games throughout 2019 and 20. We don't have to talk about those years. Brent's never finished worse than 4th. So I'm projecting his worst ever finish at 5th as he's getting older and the field's getting deeper and younger. I don't think that it's like that unfair of a ranking to give him. And basically what I'm saying here is that these guys, outside of Roman, who I think has a chance to be in this mix, these other 4 guys are the 4 guys that everyone else still has to prove to me that they can beat here. And none of them have really shown me that they can.
What did Bjorgvin get last year at the games? 8th?
4th.
4th. That's what you just said. Sorry. And what did Fikowski get?
3rd.
And,
so
what makes you think? But what makes you think that I'm tripping that you would put Fikowski so low?
It's
you know
not
something.
That low.
You know something. What do you know? What do you know, Brian? What do you know? What do you know?
Like, don't forget the thing that I've been saying all year. Men in this field will show up fitter than they were last year and finish worse than they did last year. That's what we're talking about. That's why Adrian's saying something like this. This field is so good that this game is going to be so exciting.
John, before you go, well, yeah, John, you have Fikowski. When we get to the 5, okay, let's get to 5, and then I got a question for you guys. Who's your number 5, Brian?
My 5 is Brent. His 5 is BKG.
Do you see any of these guys this being their last year?
If Vellner wins it, I think he could retire.
Wow.
Definitely not for Justin or Roman. There's an outside thought in my mind that BKG could possibly go on a team next year just because he's had the exposure to the Reykjavik team. And if he thinks that's a fun training environment, outside of that, I don't think he's going anywhere. Pat and Brent, there are circumstances in their life where I could see any year at this point being their last year, not because they can't continue to compete, just because, they may just move on to other things or lose the passion for competing. I mean, if you talk to Brent about what he dedicates in terms of every resource in his life towards trying to achieve this goal of winning the CrossFit Games, it's substantial. And he's getting into his mid-30s. He's got a family now. So that for Brent and Pat, every time I get to see him compete, I consider it like a blessing, because right now I think they're 2 of the best 5 or 6 guys that have ever competed in the sport, and I'm trying to soak it in and enjoy their performances when I can.
I mean, 4 of those guys are on the last half of their career, right?
Well, I guess so.
Yeah, interesting. This Roman's last half.
Yeah,
I think he's crossed the 50 yard. I think he's crossed the 50-yard line. I mean, I don't think Roman has 5 years left in him.
He's not old.
How old is he?
27, 28.
28 is what I have in mind, but I'm not sure. I'm not 100% sure.
And anything you guys have heard about any of these guys that you're not sharing? You don't have to share it with us, but something that might be that like.
I have only heard positive things about all 5 of these guys.
Mr. Young.
Same.
Okay, coming in healthy. All right, cool. It's a great top 5. Great top 5. This is gonna be interesting. Number 6, Brian.
Oh, what is it? I think it's Saxon.
Is it Saxon? Because that's who I have as well.
Yeah, I got Saxon at 6.
Do you think it's inevitable that we're going to see Saxon on the podium someday?
I do not think it's inevitable. I think he could do that, but I could just as easily see him not doing that in his career.
And what about you, John?
I could see him getting 4th through 6th his entire career.
And what does he have to get better at to crack that to where you guys are like, yeah, this guy's getting on the podium?
So possibly nothing. I mean, he could already have the skill set that's needed for that. And I do think that one of the things that I'm most excited for this year, and I think it adds to the excitement, is obviously the unknown aspect of Adrian Bosman's programming. And for a lot of years, like at the CrossFit Games, like you've just had to be strong and strong and stronger and stronger to hold up over the course of the weekend and with the events. And even if you look at last year, on the last day, they were asked to move a really heavy yoke, a really heavy deadlift, and a pretty heavy barbell, especially with the overhead lunges at the end of that workout. And that's events 13, 14, 15. Obviously Boz has talked about the fact that he knows what the games athletes are good at and he knows what they're not good at. And if this programming, similarly to, the 2019 programming, specifically the critical events in that year, favors the smaller athletes in a little different way than some of the past games have, Saxon could, see himself gain 50 to 100 points and move up 2 to 3 spots on the leaderboard for sure.
John, do you think there's anything that stands out that's holding Saxon back? That you'd be like, if he just fixed this one thing?
No, Saxon's really, really well-rounded. He just needs to get fitter. It's kind of like
or what Brian said, the programming gets tweaked enough to where it pushes someone like him into the.
I don't think it will, though. If it's a well-rounded program, like Saxon has shown himself to be very well-rounded, but he has no home run hits, and I'm not gonna like Scott was kind of similar. I know Scott had 2 event wins in his whole career.
3. He got 2 last
year. Two last year and 1 way back when 2012, 2013. And I think Saxon is shown to be the same way. I just think he has to get all around just fitter. And until he does, it's hard to say he's going to.
I will say he looked phenomenal at the semifinal stage of competition this year. Like
he
really
looked phenomenal
impressive.
at Granite last year.
And this thing looks good on him.
Yes, it was. I've spoken about this before. It was more than just the performance on the field. It was the way he carried himself before workouts, between workouts, in the middle of workouts. Like he just looked like he'd taken a next step in terms of maturity as an athlete. He's in the prime of what has been the best years for most men in CrossFit right now in terms of age, with a ton of experience. So he's a very formidable opponent in this field. And I just think he's slightly behind the group of guys that we just talked about.
The floors is home. He walks around like the floors is home. Like he
looks comfortable out there. Yeah.
Yeah, very.
While still being, aggressive, ferocious, tenacious, and really fit.
Number 7, Lazar Jukic for Brian. John Young, who do you got?
This is where we start differing a little bit. I have Ricky Garard.
Both guys similar, right? Really good at everything. If they had an area that they that you would want to improve, it would be their strength.
Yeah.
And I would give the edge. Now I don't know this.
Sevan.
Say that again.
Impressive analysis.
And if I thank you. And if I were to give the edge to someone in a very important year where Adrian Bosman says that after this year, coaches will be changing their primacy, their focus, their preeminent way of coaching them and what they're going to put the focus on, I would say Ricky's probably better at gymnastics. True or false?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't really know either.
They're both pretty great.
At gymnastics, Lazarus Chu?
Yeah. Lazar won that open workout where they had 40 ring muscle ups, if you remember back then, in the whole world.
Brian?
Well, he's not wrong. I mean, yeah, they're both plenty good at gymnastics.
Is Lazar an athlete? What's his athletic background? I just feel like Ricky's probably good at everything. He could ride a bike, he could fight, he could swim, he could run, he can lift heavy. I just feel like he could probably just get out there and win at badminton. I just feel like he's probably just an athlete.
He's a pretty good swimmer. If he doesn't have a swimming background, I'd be surprised because he's a great swimmer.
He's Australian. Those dudes are born in the ocean.
No, Lazar.
Oh.
I think when we talked to him, he said he did swimming and water polo.
Okay.
But no, I think...
Which would explain his engine.
I mean, look, I'm going to be saying this about a lot of guys on this list. I think that Lazar has improved this year remarkably in the things that were the biggest problems for him last year. Obviously, we spoke to him, and so we learned something that I didn't know, which is the attention that he's sunk into his speed and agility or power output work throughout this offseason. But I know that he's gotten stronger, and I think that part of that is also that he's developed his midline a little bit more. I talked to him after Lowlands Throwdown, and he's like, hitting the jerk at the end of that complex was so important for me because I'd missed the jerk in a complex 2 other times in competition already in the past year. And, just to know that work has been paying off and that I could execute that way in a competition. He's coming off a win there. He's coming off the confidence of knowing that he took BKG down in that competition, regardless of what else was going on. That's still important for him to have that belief that he can be the fittest guy in Europe, that he can improve on his finish from last year. And I think that he is standing on pretty good ground to come here with that belief because of the work that he's put in the specific areas that he needed to this year.
John, what do you think about Lazar coming here last year with his brother, getting a shit ton of love, being welcomed, and coming back another year and probably being significantly more confident on the field? Almost feeling maybe like a 5-year veteran, even though it's his second year. He turned, his first year, he turned away his, his invite to the games.
In 2019.
Yeah. And so you have a guy and he's mature beyond his years. You can tell that. I don't know if it's a cultural thing or whatever, but he's a dude who's comfortable in his skin. He's a big brother. And then you have another guy who was here 5 years ago, did well, but then I don't want to say betrayed the community. Fuck it. Betrayed the community, has come back. There's a gang of us who are like, love the comeback story, love the fact that he didn't give up. But then there's probably an uncertainty to his in his own head of his return. Do you think Ricky is just going to come in here like, fuck it, to block all the noise out? Or do you think he's going to be like, oh, fuck, am I like, do you think he has to be like looking over his shoulder, who's talking shit to him? Or are people in the crowd going to yell druggy, or he's not clean, or he's going to have to worry about any of that shit?
I mean, I would be surprised if people did that, but I don't say they're not going to do that. But I mean, for Ricky, it's a self-redemption story. He doesn't owe anybody anything. He owes it to himself. Like, he caused that ban to happen. He decided he's going to keep going and come back and, prove everybody wrong that he can do this clean. And I mean, I say all.
What about a standing ovation? What about the other way? You think he could get a standing ovation? Step on the floor, welcome, like show the world, like, hey, we're a family. Like, hey, welcome back.
I don't know. I don't think you can predict moments like that. That sounds like a very heartfelt thing.
Brian, what do you think? Is Ricky who's in a better headspace, Ricky or if you had to guess, take a stab at it,
Ricky or who?
Or Lazar Jukic?
I would say Lazar,
because Ricky's going to be questioning what the crowd thinks. Maybe.
Yeah. Also, he's had the nerves issues with some competitions recently. But if he gets, so it's important for him to get. I think it's really important for him to get that first event out of the way. I think he probably would prefer not to have the off day on Thursday. And then, so if he can get past Wednesday's first event and Friday's first event, I think he can get into a really good rhythm. But between the apprehension about not knowing how the crowd's going to receive him here and not knowing how his body or his nervous system or whatever is going on is going to respond to those first events, like those things are definitely, real things in his life right now. And if he can get past those, I think that we can hopefully see like the freedom for him to express his fitness on the floor over the course of the events. And I think we will. I have him ranked 11th. I think Ricky's going to be in the mix, fighting with a lot of these guys for a spot in the top 10. And it didn't, the reason for me omitting him from the top 10 has nothing to do with what I think about his potential. It's just that there's only 10 spots. And when I sat down on paper for each of the guys ahead of him, I felt like I had a better feeling about those guys ending up ahead of him.
Well,
he does get nervous though.
Then you do have a lot to explain with your number 8 pick. Number 8.
Yeah.
This is a fucking bold pick. And not because he couldn't be, if 7 dudes died, not that this dude couldn't be the fittest man in the world with just one plane accident, but fucking putting this guy ahead of Ricky is crazy. I think it's wild. It's bold. Bold is better than crazy. I don't think it's crazy. It's bold. Brian Friend has Dallin Pepper, the rookie, at number 8.
Yep, rookie, but not a man without experience.
Highest ranked rookie, 3 times CrossFit Games champion,
3 times teenage champion at the CrossFit Games. And when I think, I don't have a great arsenal of statistics to tell you why he's going to beat Adler, why he's going to beat Medeiros or Ricky or some of these guys that I have right below him. When I see Dallin Pepper, I just think of a guy who is going to be there on the last day on Sunday, who's going to be in the final heat. There's something different about this guy when he takes the floor of competition that is, in my opinion, is unteachable and is unlearnable. And it's like similarly to Haley Adams, he just has this thing that he's always had. That's, this ability to tap into competitive mode. And I think he's just well balanced, well rounded, and has an edge over almost everyone in the field in that regard. That people will be surprised. I think people will be surprised by how well Dallin's able to hang with the majority of this men's field.
Who do you have, John, as number 8?
I have Lazar as 8.
Everything sounds good when Brian talks about Dallin. I'm like, yeah, of course. He already sees it in his mind's eye. Yes, he had that defeat last year. It's probably made him work even harder. Yeah, he looked amazing at semifinals. Yeah, he's looked great. But then when you see him across from Lazar Jukic, it's like, dude,
yeah,
Lazar's so fucking good. Is Dallin really like in the same breath as Lazar?
I think that's his boldest pick is Dallin at 8. I think Dallin at 8 is more bold than Roman at 3 or Vellner at 1, to be honest.
Wow.
I don't disagree with what he's saying, but I also agree with what you're saying, Sevan. Like, I don't see like Dallin doing CrossFit workouts better than the people that we have ahead of him or in the same boat. I just don't think he's going to be as fast.
DS wants to know what are John's credentials. We don't have time to get into that, but go ahead and ask your mom. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, look, the other thing about Dallin is I think he's like bred for the games. And I think that as well as he did at Wodapalooza and as well as he did at semifinals, that the style of competition here, like the more events, the better. The less recovery, the better. The more unknown, the better. Similarly to Vellner in that regard. Like he handles those things uncannily well, not just for someone his age, but relative to the field.
When you say Dallin's bred for the games, you mean like his mom and dad like lit candles and like had effigies of Annie Thorsdottir and Rich Froning, and like they were like reading 100 fitness in 100 words as they orgasmed. Is that what you mean by bred by?
Actually, yes, that's exactly what I was going to say.
Perfect. Okay, I get it. Dallin 8th place. He's in there. Dear Lord, give us the fittest man alive. And Dallin was created. Okay, we'll accept it for now. We've got to get a few more people, and we'll see.
What competition has Dallin done that you think he's not going to break down at all?
Yeah, get it.
He's going to recover. Because has he ever done a long competition? He's never done Dubai. He's never done Rogue. I mean, Wodapalooza.
No, Wodapalooza is not the same. No, that's what I said at the.
Roman's untested too. There, Roman's untested too.
Roman has done Dubai though.
Well, yeah, Dubai, event number 9, Roman's going to turn into a pumpkin.
We'll see.
No, John, you're right. He doesn't. But that's what I said at the start. Like, I don't have an impressive litany of reasons that I can point to on paper why I think Dallin's going to do well. And that's what I was alluding to at the start, is a couple places on the leaderboard. I've kind of taken the liberty to say I have a feeling that this guy, kind of like you said about Annie and you said about Pat, like I have a feeling that this guy is going to surprise people with how well his body and mind last over the course of the weekend. And that on Saturday and Sunday, he's still going to be putting up top 10 finishes, and it'll keep him in the mix.
Wow. Jeremy Garcia, these guys need to schedule better. Had to finish mowing the lawn before I could watch. What is that code? Is that code? who you can't really be mowing the lawn at 8:30 at night. So
well, we don't know where he lives.
Yeah, I'm assuming somewhere. Jeremy Garcia, Mexican West Coast. Okay, 650. All right. Okay, number 9, Brian.
I think I have Adler at 9. I think that Adler is continuing to just really, really. It's unique the way that he's continuing to improve, and it's a big testament to the relationship that he has with his coach and the trust that he has in her, and obviously her ability to program over a long period of time. I mean, they from the start when they were pursuing this thing, which they were pursuing,
and wife, right?
Yeah.
Coach and wife. Okay.
And they're pursuing this thing, which is to win the CrossFit Games. They were never in a rush. Sometimes, and this is not a sport that you can, it's a very 1 in a million that you can rush into a ton of success. And so we see people come through the teenage divisions or through the team ranks or go through money trials of missing regionals before they get to this stage. Obviously, there's some exceptions to that. Tia is an exception to that. She basically decided she wanted to do it, and within 2 years, she was competing to win. That rarely happens. Jeff has every single competition I've ever projected him to compete in. He's exceeded my expectations. He's placed higher than I've picked him, including at Atlas Games, where I picked him second this year, and he went on to win. And I would have bet 1,000 burpees that Vellner would have walked away with Atlas Games win. So I think that they have done as good a job as anyone in really that I've ever seen who didn't have this random gift of potential from the start of laying the foundation and then continuing to build upon it in a really pragmatic, responsible, and effective way. I think that he is one of the guys who has gotten better and will do better this year than he did it last year at the Games, which was finished 13th.
And he's got an incredible physique. I was watching some video on him the other day. I cannot believe he looks like an action figure. He's something else.
I'll tell you who looked really, really impressive in that regard today was Samuel Quant.
Sevan, I can't ask my mom. She's dead. Oh, fuck. All right. You mean his physique? You saw Sam Quant's physique and he looked good?
Yeah.
Not emaciated. Like, it's not like he got
he
sick and lost 20 pounds. He looks good.
Yeah, and we'll get to him at some point on this list, but I'm really excited to see Sam compete this weekend.
Where did you see him? You saw him at what?
Check-in. I saw most of the guys checking in today.
And you saw him with his shirt off?
They were taking headshots. Yeah, I saw some of the guys with their shirts off here and there. But I mean, it wasn't necessarily just that he had his shirt off. It was just the way that he was carrying himself looked. I don't know. It stood out to me compared to everyone else. Like I was like, that looked.
Who are you most intimidated by at check-in?
Most intimidated by at check-in?
It's not an athlete.
Sevan, I had an amazing opportunity today to make amends with Julia Cato, and it was great.
Oh, that's awesome. Did she speak English?
Yeah, talked to her. Snorri introduced us. He took a picture, actually. It was amazing. And Snorri, of course, is the most intimidating guy I saw at check-in.
Awesome. Yes, he is a thug and a bully. That is not true at all. Number 9. Who do you have, John Young?
Number 9, I got Guy.
Guy, okay.
Well, let's talk about Guy. I mean, I have him.
Yes.
We're right. We're both on him, and we're both having him lower than last year's 7th place finish.
Wow. Okay. John, let me dig in here and say why. What? Oh yeah. Guy's gonna win 3 events, right?
We don't know that for sure.
He's gonna win one event.
He'll definitely win one. He'll definitely win one, probably 2, and then if he's lucky, 3.
And I haven't heard anyone talk about his holes.
Well, we talked all about his holes last time.
Well, we know what his holes are, but we haven't talked about whether he's fixed his holes, if he's plugged them up.
That's because we don't really know.
No one knows.
No,
we don't know because the field in Copa Sur is not good enough for us to assess whether he's improved in long time domain workouts. He looked great there based on the scorecard, but there is no one else at that competition there that's considering a top 10, even close to a top 10 performance at the CrossFit Games in any event, really.
He didn't really prove anything at Rogue that he had fixed those holes, and then Dubai he dropped out of.
Why did he drop out of Dubai? I don't remember that.
I think he was.
He didn't go. He
was planning to do the Mayhem Desert Heat and then stay there for Dubai, and then Mayhem Desert Heat got canceled, so he didn't go. I'm not certain of that, but that's what I think. Anyway, and Rogue was a long time ago, so he's had a long training cycle since Rogue. He's obviously in an amazing training environment. He seems to be loving it there. He's had some, not only has he trained with Rich and that crew for the whole year, but this last month they've had the whole, basically the whole Mayhem team from all over the world that we talked about down there. And it would be, extremely surprising to me if he has not improved his aerobic capacity. And, and quite frankly, if he takes bottom 10 finishes in workouts that are going over 20 minutes again this year, that's a problem. Then, because he should have been able to improve. He doesn't. And the reason I say he should be able to improve in that domain is because Ben Bergeron used to say, if for me to take you from where you are to where you need to be on a strength, I need my 6 years. But in a conditioning, I can take 6 months. So he should be. John will have some thoughts about that. But the point is, it's easier from a time perspective to improve in the aerobic capacity than it is on the strength, where you have to put in the work. And because he's so strong, he also doesn't have to invest as many training sessions beating his body under heavy barbells week after week after week, which means that he can invest a little bit more into the aerobic side of things. So he should be overall better at the games this year than last year.
Yet.
That's what I meant.
Yet you have him at 10th.
I do.
Well, you can't put him higher until he does it. Like if Guy is better aerobic capacity wise, and say he's like much better, 30 seconds faster on his mile time better, then he could finish as high as 5th. But he could also finish 14th if he doesn't get 3 home run hits like he did last year. If he only gets one event where he wins and then another event where he's 5th in a heavy barbell cycling event, and then that's all he gets, that's barbell specialty, he's going to be 14th, 15th place. He got extremely lucky with 3 events that he could knock out of the park last year. He should be better, but it's just hard to put him higher until you see that he's better.
Austin Hartman telling his buddy 5 a.m. class isn't very conducive to our Sevan Podcast viewing schedule. I would hate it if I somehow interfered with your indoctrination process. Your $100,000 a year you're paying to be indoctrinated. I would hate to do that. So could we see an event in that event with the 3.5 mile run, Guy and Colton holding hands as they cross the finish line?
We could, yeah.
So Colton like dragging Guy, like.
By the way, Sevan, I'm pretty sure I just checked this to make sure, but I'm pretty sure that nobody outside of Fraser and Froning has ever won 3 events in consecutive CrossFit Games for the men. So just because he won 3 last year, there's no guarantee that he'll win 3 this year. We talked about it with Brent. He won 4, then 2, then 0, 0, 0, 1.
So I'm putting Guy at 15th place then. Okay.
And I mean, look, like 300 points on 3 events goes a long, long way towards, propelling you up the leaderboard.
And the further down we get on the list, home run hitters are only going to rise. If your ability to hit home runs is the further down we get on the list, the more that makes a larger move in the whole competition as a whole.
Damn, Trina going hard in the paint. Guy's ego exceeds his capability.
Well. I think that the way that the Next Gen movie was presented was probably a disservice to Guy.
Oh, shit. We're going there. I haven't seen it yet. Really?
No,
Does he come across like a pompass?
In that I felt like he did, but that is not the perception that I've gotten from him outside of that context. Like
racist.
He's a very whatever.
Racist.
So, I mean, if that's the only exposure that you have to him, temper that a little bit, because it's just it's a small insight into a more complex guy.
Yeah, no, not everyone can have the white privilege that Colton has living on a farm with 16,000 pigs. Okay. Who did you have at number 10, Mr. Young? I
have Jeff Adler. Ryan had Jeff at 9. I had Jeff at 10. I had Guy at 9. He had Guy at 10.
I'm concerned for Guy now. To tell you guys, convinced me that that was a one-hit wonder. Fucking, we saw Vanilla Ice fucking phenomenon, and that he's in trouble.
If he is much better in aerobic capacity, though, he could be, in for the best games of his career.
But look at these guys. Let's just Justin, Patrick, Roman, BKG, Brent Fikowski, Saxon, Lazar Jukic. Those top 7 dudes have engines. Those are
why they're
engines.
ranked ahead of him.
Right, Brian? Look at these top 7 guys that you guys have. I'm going to say 14 names because there's two lists. But Justin, Patrick, Justin, Roman, Brent, BKG, Saxon, Ricky, Lazar. I mean, these are engines. Guy's not breaking. I mean, for Guy to get into the engine game, I mean, these are like rocket ships. All those dudes. At some modality.
There's a reason they're that high.
How about Adler? Does he got it? Can you talk about his engine in the same breath as you could Ricky Garard, Lazar Jukic, BKG?
For me, there's a drop off after either Saxon or Lazar, or maybe I don't know. But
A drop off in fitness or engine?
I would say more like potential to podium.
I mean,
Overall.
Adler's made it clear that engine work was his 2022 focus, correct? He's made that clear.
I mean, gymnastics should be his focus, but yeah.
One of his focuses. I did hear that President Joe Biden of the freest and greatest country on the planet has started building the wall, rebuilding the wall. Yes. Okay.
He's filling in the holes.
Say that again. He's filling in the holes.
Yeah.
But hey, that's the first cool thing I've heard about Joe Biden. He's filling in the holes. Okay. I am worried about Guy in the Tyler Watkins Fitness Fantasy League. In the Tyler Watkins Fitness Fantasy League, who got Guy?
He was picked
Hiller?
second overall, but yeah, it was Hiller.
Oh, Hiller sucks. He fucked up. Sorry. I like Guy. Guy's a great dude. He's a good dude just to have on the team. Hopefully you can sell some shirts off his name, but okay. We have our 10. I think we'll start picking up speed here a little bit until I become aghast at some of the picks. Okay, let's go. Number 11.
I have Ricky at 11.
Oh, geez.
I have a Hopper.
Wow. Okay, let's keep going. Let's do like 3 in a row here, and then we'll circle back on these 3 guys.
Okay, I have Ricky, Alex Vigneault, Jonakoski.
Sorry, you have Ricky at 11. At 12, you have who?
Alex Vigneault.
Mm-hmm.
And 13, Jonakoski.
Okay, and who do you have? Hopper.
I got Hopper at 11, Jonakoski at 12, and Noah Ohlsen at 13.
Brian, what are you concerned about Noah? Has Noah just?
I have Noah at 14.
How would you describe Noah's CrossFit career last 3 years? If he takes 20th, will you be surprised?
Yes.
I will be. That would be a bad games for Noah. Yeah.
But look, in this tier right here, I've got Ricky. We already talked about Ricky. And then I have Vigneault, Koski, and Noah Ohlsen. All 3 of those guys were in the top 10 last year. Iona finished 6th. Alex was 8th. Noah was 10th. These guys are really, really good in this format. And they've all proven it for multiple times that they're very good in this format. They're just, for a variety of different reasons, I'm not sure that any of them can do as well as they did last year. And therefore I put them just outside the top 10.
Who do you have at 14, John? And
I have
15?
Dallin. I have Dallin at 14, and then I have Alex Vigneault at 15.
So we actually have the exact same top 15 guys, just in a different.
I didn't even notice that.
It's so interesting. The big one here is that you have John Young. You have Dallin Pepper at 14.
Yeah, that's our biggest gap thus far.
What do you see in Jason Hopper that makes you guys think? What did he finish last year? 20, 19, or 20?
19th.
19th. Why someone like Jason Hopper moving that direction and Guy moving down? Brian, you first. What do you see in Jason Hopper?
Well, I think, we've talked about it before in the capacity of Jason made every rookie mistake last year and still had a top half finish at the games. I think that Jason has matured as an athlete in almost every single way that's possible this year, from an understanding of himself to the understanding of the test to an understanding of the season and his competitors and how difficult it is. I think he's improved in his specific fitness domains. I think he's still world-class in a very specific style of testing. And I think,
and what's that? And what style is that?
Power output stuff that we talked about.
Okay.
Machine sprints.
Yeah, and when you say world-class, he's a top 5 guy.
Yeah.
Top 2.
Not top 2. Yeah. But he might get
with
one
Roman.
event.
You guys are putting in there with Roman.
He might get 1 or 2 events that he can actually express that, over the course of however many they'll end up being this week. And I think that I actually was flirting with with putting him higher on this list. But the thing about the games is year to year, it tests things slightly differently. And even when Dave was programming all those years, that was the case. And the trap that you can fall into is saying, last year I wasn't prepared for this and this, and I'm going to make sure that never happens again. And then next year, there's two new things that you're not prepared for. It doesn't affect all the athletes the same. But in the case of Jason, I still think he's raw in certain regards. He's just new to the sport. He's young, and he's got too little body fat. Yes, exactly. And so I think that he will look a lot better as an athlete this year, but I still think that there'll be a couple events that expose the things that he's not up to standard with the guys that I have ahead of him on this list.
Hopper has Fraser in his corner. Does that mean nothing?
I agree with Kate here. I think Fraser's going to smooth out that rawness quite a bit. Fraser's basically going to be like, attack this workout this way, and Hopper's going to be a soldier. And then I think that he's going to do a lot better than he did last year.
Don't talk to Sevan on the Sevan podcast during the week. That's a distraction. Don't
those events, the events where he's not going to do great, I think he will be able to temper those bad finishes just by listening to Matt.
Jason, I'm your dad, Matty Fraser. Just call me daddy, and I don't want you talking to Sevan during the week.
You don't think
Jose
so,
de la Torre, was Noah getting second to Fluke in 2019? Before we do that, Jose, I think that Dallin, and this is kind of bold. I think that Dallin will bounce back better if he has a shitty event than Jason. But I was going to say that until John put in, or whoever wrote that in the comments, put in the Fraser factor, because Fraser may be able to be like, don't think about that, young man, and Hopper may just stop. Thoughts? Who's going to handle it? Because they're going to have bad events.
No, Dallin has a great mental game. I'm not going to say one's better than the other, but I think Hopper will handle it much better than he did last year, and I think he'll have less bad events than he did last year, and more home run hits than he did last year. And Dallin is just going to be steady keel the whole way through.
Jaden, this is Matt Fraser. How can I help you? Brian, going back to Jose, who paid $1.99 for your time. That's you get to give him a 30-second answer for $2. Was Noah getting second in 2019 a fluke?
No, Noah was incredibly fit that year. He was extremely prepared. The test was totally different. The scoring, the cut system, there's never been anything like that. And I've done multiple writings and reportings on the physical parameters of the men who ended up making the top 10 that year being a statistically outlier relative to every year before and after in terms of size and weight. And that specifically had to do with the placement and scoring system of events 4, 5, and 6. And actually was affirmed today on this weekend on the Get With The Programming podcast, where they did the correlation of best event from a games relative to overall top 10 finish. Mary was the strongest correlate that year. That's because it was at a critical point in the weekend that basically eliminated all of the tall and big athletes. Once they got into the top 10, you didn't have on the weekend, you didn't have Vellners and Fikowskis and Vigneaults, guys that were like consistently just stealing points from Noah. And so he was finishing towards the top of every workout. And because the scoring system was different, people weren't able to make big moves. That's why separation was small at the top anyway. So he took advantage of the scoring system that was presented, the format that was presented, and an exceptional level of fitness that he had that year. It was a well-earned second. Everyone had to deal with the same circumstances.
So not a fluke, but a disaster on the games team's part by the way they ran the games, is what Brian said. Okay, go ahead, John.
Can I reword the question to him?
Please.
Do you think Noah was the second fittest man in the world that year?
No.
Okay, that's it.
I know that says it all. There was a question. There was a statement in here that had such a great joke with it. Damn, where is that? Okay, can't find it. Vigneault at 12 for Brian, 15 for John Young. Where's the last place we've seen this guy compete? Where was the semifinals? Was that Atlas?
Atlas Games third, yeah.
And so, and who took first and second?
Adler and Vellner.
Okay. And who took fourth?
Alexander Caron.
Okay, and he's at the games also.
He'll be on the next slide or the one after. I can't remember. He's right around 20.
And those are good dudes.
Oh yeah,
This wasn't
Vigneault's like he's arguably like the best guy at the games that nobody knows about. I mean, he's been 8th, 9th, and 11th, I think, or 8th, 10th, and 11th 3 times at the games, and a lot of people have no idea who he is. He's very steady. He's very quiet. He's very reserved. He's very tough, and I think that he's if you don't have him inside your top 15, you're really not giving him credit for how fit he has proven to be in this style of testing.
Jackson Mashoff. I only pronounced it right because he gave $4.99.
Well, I mean,
if you would have given $1.99, I would have fucked your name up. Just wants to point out how hard everyone is sleeping on Travis. There's no way Dallin Pepper beats Travis Mayer. I'm willing to bet both you $10 on that. You want to bet?
I'll take that bet. Yeah.
Okay, Brian. There's no way he beats Dallin Pepper.
I'll bet you 10 minutes on the assault bike for calories.
No. Okay. I got that too.
Mm-hmm.
This is crazy. You're absolutely right. It's insanity to think that this fucking kid can just train over there with Danielle Brandon and get he's not beating
If I had
Travis
told you
Mayer.
before the
There's
games
no way.
last year that I thought Guy Medeiros was going to beat Travis Mayer, you would have taken the bet on Travis 10 out of 10 times.
Yeah, I agree. But we've already
would I.
discussed that was a complete accident that was a complete accident that Guy got 3 wins.
Not an accident. Just he dealt with the cards that were given to him, and he was given very good cards.
Oh shit, Sevan, check the thumbnail on Hiller's video. Okay. Number 16. Who do we got, Brian?
16. Sam Quant.
Sam Quant, then 7. I want to go back and forth. I don't want you just to say them all down, and then we'll go all the way to 20. Who do you have at 16, John?
I have Willie Georges.
Ooh. Brian, who do you have at 17?
Spencer Panchik.
And who do you have, Mr. Young?
Cole Sager.
And who do you have at 18, Brian?
Willie George.
And who do you have at 18?
Alexander Caron.
Wow, okay. And who do you have at 19, Brian?
Cole Sager.
And who do you have at 19, John?
Travis Mayer.
Oh my God, you're gonna burn in hell, Brian. Can't even believe it. You have not said Travis Mayer yet, have you? Mayer. You haven't said his name, have you? Number 20, Brian.
Baden Brown.
Oh my goodness. Guys, like, and who do you have? Who do you have at 20?
Jay Crouch.
Oh my goodness. Travis Mayer has
do
what?
you have Jay Crouch on the podium, Sevan?
I do have Jay Crouch on the podium.
Right.
I do. I have him as this is rookie year, right?
Is one of the 20 guys you picked on the podium?
Yes. That Jay will also beat Dallin. Jay will also beat Dallin. Dallin will do great. Don't get me wrong. Huge Dallin Pepper fan. But after day 9 or 10, the J engine will kick in. The Travis Mayer engine will kick in.
You mean event 9 or 10?
Yeah, event 9 or 10. Yeah, thank you. And the newbies will wilt.
Newbies like who?
Like Dallin. Spencer Panchik, 17. Is that high for Spencer?
Yeah, this is one of the bold picks that I'm making, is that Spencer Panchik is going to surprise people, and I think he's gonna finish in the top half of the games field.
And Samuel Quant, with his beautiful body and the way he carries himself, you have him all the way down at 16, and yet in 2019 he went 20.
Yeah, he was second that year.
Second.
What was he at?
Last year he couldn't even finish the top. He could barely even finish the weekend semifinals. I don't know. I've said it all year. Sam Quant is as big as a wild card as there is in the men's field. He looked very impressive at Granite Games. He was very consistent and steady. He didn't waver as the weekend went on. He looked like a professional that knows how to qualify for the games. And I think that we're going to see more of the version of Sam Quant that we saw in his younger days, 2016, when he made his debut at the games, and he finished right around between 16 and 20th, I think.
He's still relatively young.
Oh yeah, he was only 20 then, so he's 26. He's like right in that kind of prime age for male games athletes. 26 to 30, I would say, is pretty much that range. And yeah, I think he's going to do well.
What do you think, John?
Light the fire for Travis Mayer.
For Quant?
You don't even have Quant in your top 20.
I mean, like Brian said,
let me just say this before you speak. That's consistent with kind of your "what have you done for me lately?" Although it's inconsistent because you got Vellner on the top. But you said that before. Yeah, it's interesting. Okay, go ahead, Samuel Quant.
It's like Brian said, he's the biggest wild card there is. He's very hit or miss. He either does very well or he's a different guy and does very, very bad. I can't put my finger on. I mean, I know he struggled with an illness. I know he struggled with an illness. Do you know if that's fixed or not, Brian?
Do you know if that's fixed? Hey, did he fix that hole of his, Brian?
He had this like long respiratory thing that he just never dealt with.
Was it a respiratory thing?
I don't know that many details about it. I just know that I thought he looked good at semifinals, and I think that he's going to be back to a form for competing that I'm not factoring into my rankings for him.
I love anyone with the name off in their name. Sarah Wickoff. Sarah, I think you got a typo. I think that Y is supposed to be an A. Sarah Wackoff.
And I'm just the opposite on Brian. Brian took a risk, and I just put him where I thought he would finish. I think he can finish that high too. What Brian said.
What makes you think Baden Brown can beat Travis Mayer, Brian? He's out of Australia. He's from a weaker region.
You know what I found out about Baden Brown today? He has a full-time job.
And a shitload of kids. And a wife.
And he runs like nobody's business.
Dude, I mean, I told you before we started this, it's the hardest field of men or women that I've ever had to rank. And I was like, the next 5 guys on the list, all of them I wanted to put in the top 15. There's just weren't enough spaces.
Yeah, I agree.
Number 21. Okay, hold on 1 second. Is the only reason why you're not putting Jay Crouch higher is because you just don't, the Australia, he's definitely better than he was in 2021.
I want to make my confession now, Sevan. Should I make my confession now?
Please.
I had made all these rankings and I was struggling. I was really struggling, and especially in this 15 to 25 range.
What do you mean? Like you went out and stood on the patio on the edge and like we're thinking of jumping, struggling? Like
no, not thinking of jumping, struggling, but screaming to the heavens, Mayer or Sager? Just trying to get a sign.
Yeah, I like it.
And so what I ended up doing was I took the guys that you like the most and I just put them all outside the top 20.
Oh, shit. God, I know you've cursed anyone Sevan likes out of the top 20. Oh my goodness! Like, I'm the worst part's still coming. I hate this. The worst. I know the worst is yet to come. You guys are both bad boys. 21, Mr. Friend.
21, Alexander Caron.
John.
I have Heinrich Happelainen.
Happelappen. Who do you have? 22, Brian.
Travis Mayer.
Okay, John.
Andre Houdet.
Oh, wow. That's high. That's high for Houdet, right, Brian?
It's worse than he did last year.
Wow. Okay. 23, Brian.
Happelainen.
Okay. That's Happelappen.
Mm-hmm.
John.
Colton Mertens.
Wow. That a boy. You might be invited back for another show. Brian.
24. I have Jay Crouch.
Now Jay Crouch, he did better he did better this year than he did last year, and he took first. Did he take first at Torian Pro?
This year he was first. Last year he was second by 1 point to Royce Dunn.
Okay, and the reason why you're not giving him more love is because you think the men from
giving him
Australia,
so much love.
because you think the men from Australia are ass. It's the same thing the way we look at the Atlas Games women field. You think that what's less competitive, the women's field from the Atlas Games or the men's field from Torian Pro?
Women's
That's
field
not
from
even close.
Atlas.
The men's field from Torian Pro is impressive.
It's very
is.
competitive.
Well, then, and you've got the number one fucking guy with Rob Forte in his corner, down here with them, holding his hand.
But where does
Jay
Jay
Crouch is Mr. Happy-Go-Lucky. I'm telling you, this guy get run over by a tractor and he still got a smile on his face. He don't care.
Hey, I met him and his brother Toby today. It was great. They were so similar. It was amazing.
Is Toby older or younger?
Younger but taller.
Wow, man, I'm so bummed I'm not there.
There's many people were asking about you today.
Tell them he's sitting in his chair. he's sitting. He's happy.
He's either on the Echo bike or sitting in the chair.
He's wearing his leg warmers. Assault bike. Don't get it. Okay. But why? Why do you have Jay Crouch so low? You're telling me that you're impressed with the field. He put it to Royce Dunn. He put it to Baden Brown. I mean, how can you have him below Baden?
I don't know.
Baden's a recreational CrossFitter
that beat Jay at the games last year by 5 spots.
All right.
They get like
you didn't like the programming
games,
at Torian Pro. You think the programming sucked this year.
The games is not the semifinals is not the games. There are people that are like, oh, Adler, he was amazing at Atlas Games. I'm picking him on the podium. It's like you're not thinking clearly. Adler was amazing at Atlas Games, but to finish on the podium, he has to go through 9 guys plus Roman and Ricky, 9 guys that beat him last year, plus Roman and Ricky and Dallin, who are entering the field that we don't know how good they're going to be. Like, it's not you can't.
And a longer, harder test that tests way more things.
Yeah, and you regularly will see people do well at semifinals and not relative to someone else, and not do as well at the games.
Colton Mertens.
Colton, yeah, there's plenty of examples.
I'm telling you, Jay Crouch is
Jason Hopper.
This is disrespect. Jay Crouch will finish higher than Jason Hopper also. I can't make any more bets though.
You're already almost depleting your bank account and your energy field with $10 in 10 minutes.
Sevan, why aren't you there? Because I'm here. Okay. 24, Mr. Young.
I got Sam Quant.
Okay. 25.
Cole Greasehaber.
John?
Is it Gray Shaber?
Greasehaber.
Greasehaber's the girl.
No, that's Colin Brander.
Oh. Okay, John. 25.
Spencer Panchik.
Okay, I'm not gonna do it. 26. Wait. How should I play Spencer? He's on my team. Fuck it, I'm gonna do it. How should I play Spencer? But John said play him short. He's on my Tyler Watkins fantasy fitness league. He is one of my star players. John says I should play him short and hard.
Who is your first pick overall?
Saxon.
Do you have a good grasp on the events you'd want to play Saxon in?
No, Saxon is a no because I think I can because I think I can kind of put him in I can kind of put Saxon in anywhere. I mean, there's 15 events, 10 of them he's going to be top 10.
So any event that you think that this could be one of the 9 or 10 that Saxon's usable for, just think about Spencer as being
if you want to get 2 or 3 spots less, yeah.
Wow. But short time domains, but not heavy for Spencer.
No, you can go heavy.
You can.
Sevan,
not going to be the top 5.
We already told you when you drafted, you don't have any good players for the heavy lifts or the long events.
The fuck are you talking about? Colton can lift a house.
If it's a static lift, Colton's fine.
There are some lifts that he could do well on. There's some lifts that he would struggle with against this field.
Don't put him in a snatch.
When you feel your bed being lifted up in the middle of the night, being thrown off. What floor are you on, Brian?
Nope.
When you feel your bed being lifted up and thrown out off the balcony, they just look back and you see Colton. You see little man on the deck. Just wave at him. Oh,
What was your strategy when you were drafting Sevan?
I just wanted Danielle and Colton. And I just like people that I want to be on their bandwagon. People like I want to like cheer on. I could totally get behind Saxon.
And it needed to be someone that he felt confident would at least respond to him if he invited him on the show.
Oh yeah. Like Moose Brugger and Tia. The fuck them. They can't. Or like I guess Tia. I could maybe. Shane's good to me. But yeah, if like you won't come on, like I could never pick Danny Spiegel or Brooke Wells. I could never pick anyone who's like.
The point is to be well-rounded and diverse, and you picked an identical twin.
Oh, I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. I wanted people I could bring on the show and just fucking glorify them. Number 26, Brian.
26, Andre Houdet.
John.
I have oldest Upanix.
27.
Will Morad.
Okay. Any chance Will Morad could win an event?
Yeah. If it's got a lot of strict handstand push-ups in it, I don't think anybody's better.
Brian?
I don't think he could win. I mean,
he kind of needs it. It's a going away present for him, right? He's an old guy. This is his last games. He's been through a fucking lot.
I know they're not going to, Brian, but if there was 100 strict handstand push-ups per time, you don't think he would win that event?
An event like that would be his best chance.
Okay.
He's like, there are things that he's pretty good at, and I could see him taking some top 5 finishes, but to win an event outright, I don't know.
Okay. Number 27, John.
27, I have Baden Brown.
Okay, good. That sounds smart. So wow, Brian, you still haven't said Colton.
Okay. He still got like 10 more spots till he says Colton.
Dude, he has a fucking card. Do you know that? Oh, he has a Wad Zombie card.
He's the only card of Wad Zombies I keep on my desk.
All right. Because all the other ones are at your bedside.
You got good memory.
28, John.
28, I have Tudor Magda.
Okay. You first on this, Brian. Can Tudor Magda win an event?
There are specific events that if they popped up, he would have a chance to win, yes.
Any chance he'll be Rookie of the Year? Any chance he's better than...
I talked to both him and James Townsend for a while today, and they made me feel bad about this ranking. Like, they are very confident that he's going to turn some heads this week.
Yeah, but what are they supposed to say? That they're not confident?
Yeah, Brian.
Tudor surprised me a lot at semifinals, and I have a feeling that, I don't get me wrong, I don't think he's going to be a top 10 contender, but I do think he's going to outperform this ranking that I have for him.
Yeah, John. Tudor beats Dallin.
I bet he does in one event.
Hey, I wonder who James Sprague's rooting for. Dallin Pepper or Tudor Magda. Oh, James is torn.
Oh, probably Dallin.
I know he has to say that. 29, Brian.
I have Tim Paulson at 28.
Yep, sorry. And sorry. Oh shit, something's wrong. Who do you have at 28, John?
Tudor.
Okay, I got out of order there. Thank you. 29, Brian.
Tudor Magda.
Okay.
Oh, James is in the comments here talking about it.
Yeah, James, you fucked everything up. You got in his head. Oh, look at James. Oh, not James Townsend. James Sprague. Yeah. Great answer, James. Way to put it on the line. Both are my boys. There's not room for 2 boys. I have 3 boys, and I have a favorite. 20. I don't. 29, John.
What kind of answer is that? Okay.
Good, James Sprague. Oh my goodness.
29, I have Nick Matthew.
As we get down to these bottom guys, any chance? Did you pick any of these people based on the fact that you just don't think that they'll hold up and they'll pull out? Is there a guy as we get into this bottom 10, you're going to be like, I put him down there because he's going to pull out? Either you.
No. I mean, I did think like some guys will not recover as well and not perform to their capabilities, but not dropping out. No.
Okay. Number 30.
I have Uldis Upanex.
John?
Yorgos Kervis.
That is the first name I've heard that I've heard of the guy, but I could never have told you was in the games this year. Like I've heard his name mentioned, but I would have took you guys to name.
We talked about him 2 days ago. I trained with him. Remember?
Yeah, I remember. I just
saw a picture of him.
I wouldn't have bet like a testicle that he was at the games. I wouldn't have known. Okay, Brian, 31.
31. I have Nick Matthew.
And John, 31.
I have Tim Paulson.
32.
Yorgos Kervis.
Yorgos. John.
Cole Grieshaber.
Oh shit! Here we go. Is this the? Brian had him at 25, and you have him at 32. That's 7 places. That's I think that's the second biggest difference.
Check Spencer Panchik.
Have had. Brian had Spencer at 17. Oh, and 25. Okay, you're right. There's some other ones.
Also,
okay.
I mean, Brian hasn't said Colton's name yet.
Hey, he must have fucked up. He must have not been listening, John. He must have not been listening.
Yeah, and I'll hand it to Brian. He might know something about Cole that I don't. I mean, I know there is an event that he probably will do really well at.
Are you talking about Cole Grieshaber?
Yeah, Cole Grieshaber. Yeah, they're yeah. So I know there's an event he's going to do well at that hasn't been announced yet. But
no, I would say he's my kind of bold pick in that 21 to 30 range, where I would expect that most people don't know a lot about him. He hasn't had a lot of live competitions at all. Semifinals was his first live competition since 2018 or 19. And he's a bit of an unknown and a bit of a wild card. I have a good feeling for him, I think, relative to most people's expectations. But what I put him 25, if he finishes 35, I won't be that shocked by it. I just think he's a little better than most people know, and understandably, because no one's really had a chance to see him.
You know what's crazy is Brian has Colton Mertens down here with the no-namers. By the no-namers, it's like dudes I never heard of.
Okay, well, first of all, he finished 31st last year at the games.
Yeah.
I have him ranked 33rd.
Yeah.
You think he's less fit than last year?
Way more fit.
No, I don't.
What 2 people are ahead of him this year that weren't last year?
No, I mean, I've said this half dozen times already today. You can be fitter and do worse against this year's men's field.
Yeah, but that's only 9 people, not the top of the field. Out of the bottom 9 people, because he finished 31st, 2 of them are now fitter than Colton. I know they're different people, but there are 2 fitter people out of the 9 people that were behind him last year. And I don't think that's.
I don't really understand what you're saying.
He's pissed. We're pissed.
Okay.
Pissed. We respect you too much to let you put Colton at 33. Okay, number 33, Mr. Young.
Moritz Feibig.
Moritz. And Brian picked. Say it, Brian.
33. Colton Mertens.
Number 34.
I got Will Morat.
Oh, he's got Will. I don't know who he wants first anymore.
Hey, I know I screwed it up. Brian, you go first. 34.
Enrico Zanoni.
And you have Will Morad. So, John Young, do you think Will Morad, there's a chance he could win an event? It's not like totally outlandish, and yet you have him ranked at 34.
Should we hold his feet to the fire, Sevan? He was 20th last year in the games. Tell me the 14 guys that are better than him.
Then who? Then Will Morad?
Yeah, I have Colton regressing 2 spots, and he wants to, take me out and beat me over the banister. He's got Will Morad dropping 14 spots.
Here's my reasoning. Oh, what's up, James?
What's up, boys? How we doing?
Hold on, James. We're throwing down. Hang tight for 1 second. Just hang tight.
Last year, Colton had the worst slate of 9 events he could have asked for. There was nothing for him that he could be good at. There was multiple sprints and multiple long distance and big guy stuff. There was nothing he could be good at. You're telling me this year is going to be the same? There's not going to be one event where he's okay at. All he needs is one.
And Adrian Bosman's a little pinner, so he's going to have he's a 165-pound guy. He's going to have some love for the pinners.
One home run for him, and then he's top 30.
Adrian Bosman hates dudes like James Sprague, 6'3". Yeah, hates him.
I ruined the test, man. I broke the test. The joke is I'm 6'9", but I don't think that in my head.
Who do you have at 35, John?
Austin Spencer.
Oh, wow. Spriggs, are you a student of the game?
Depends on what that means, man. Do you think we're talking CrossFit game?
Yes, that's what I mean. The CrossFit game. I'm not pimping hoes. I'm talking about the CrossFit game. Do you know the athletes, how they do?
Is that like do I know insider trading? Am I good at guesstimating like Brian? I would say I'm not. I'm always wrong with this stuff. I always put the people I know in front.
Okay, bye.
Dallin and Tudor would tie.
Whoa, brother! I would say Dallin and Tudor are both going to tie for first at the games this year.
Okay. So that's what we got. Ladies and gentlemen, James Sprague has joined us for the last 5 picks, the most important picks.
James, you know who gave me one of the best hugs today?
Who did?
A lot of hugs. Benji.
No way.
Yes,
I'm happy to hear that.
Yes.
He's a great hugger.
on top of the podium for hugging, Benji.
Dude, there's spirit of the games. There's hug of the games. What's next?
Oh, we should do that. Did you guys pick a spirit of the games winner yet? Brian or John?
I haven't given much thought to that. No.
Okay.
Number's going to win spirit of the games.
No, too quiet.
What do you have to do to be spirit of the games? Is it like whoever smiles the most or faces the most adversity?
It's politics. It's politics.
So be the guy that claps in the loser's lane.
No. Dan Bailey never supported a single one of his fucking people out there. He's the most closed off person when he competes, and he won spirit of the games. It has nothing to do with your spirit of the games. Period.
Interesting.
Yes, I said it.
I feel like it'd be easier. It'd be easier to pick the least likely person to get spirit of the games than the most likely.
Yes,
because you know who's just who's not gonna be happy the whole time, and who's gonna be just in their zone and not talking to anyone, and they're least likely.
If you're really nice outside of the games, but you're a curmudgeon at the games, you can still win spirit of the games. It has nothing to do with spirit of the games.
I feel like it's also a bit of a legacy award. It rarely will go to someone in their first 3 years. It's usually someone with 5+ years of games experience at this point.
Well said. They feel bad for Kristen Clever because she didn't win the second time, and so did she ever win spirit of the games?
I don't know.
Oh,
I don't know if they had spirit of the games when she was there. Did she? Did they?
Did they ever give it to Ben Smith?
This is the award no one knows. Can you repeat? Can you repeat spirit of the game?
No, because then Noah and Cole would get it every year.
Sam Briggs would have gotten every year. Becca Voigt every year. Okay, number 36. Brian.
Did I give you 35 yet?
You said Moritzi.
Oh, okay.
Didn't you?
36. I have Austin Spencer.
Okay, Austin, and that's the guy who came in through the last chance qualifier.
Nope. Austin Spencer was the 6th place finisher at Atlas Games who took Nicholas Joyal's spot.
Oh, that's the guy who came in through the drug test.
Yep.
Brian, do you know what Austin Spencer took in the LCQ?
In the teens somewhere.
What's your opinion on people that beat him in LCQ not going to the games? Do you think it's fair?
I do.
Yeah, I think it is too.
Me
but
too.
a lot of people are mad about it.
No, every region, every continent is allotted a certain number of spots. And if you started backfilling out of the LCQ, then it would alter that. Obviously, the LCQ allows for any particular continent to gain 1 or 2 spots.
Yeah,
I think that that should be considered in distributing game spots for the next year. But I don't think that, Austin went to that event and competed, and a guy who competed and did better than him but was cheating was eliminated from the competition that takes the top 5 guys. And so
that's
he
what I think.
finished,
Yeah,
Hey,
for sure.
This is a brilliant pick. Noah is going to win the Spirit of the Games this year.
Plus,
he's a good candidate for that. Yeah.
A semifinal is way more of a full test than the last chance qualifier too. I think.
Yeah, I agree. I would say doing both, that the LCQ wrecked me a lot harder than the semis.
Wow.
It was a much harder.
Particularly
It was a
your
much
shoulders?
harder test. It was much harder. It was way more technical.
This podcast should win Spirit of the Games. That's a
Bro.
fucking great point. That's a
beautiful.
great point.
What was the hardest part of the event that just got announced, James?
Oh, let's see. There was
Tell us the movements first, John, so everyone knows what he's choosing from.
Okay, do you want to say it, James?
Yeah,
All
sure.
right.
So it was
Okay.
20 pig flips. What's
Now, what weight? Did they say the weight?
Yeah, it's,
510 pounds.
510 pounds into the 3.5 mile run. When we tested it, we did not do the full run. So they made the run longer than when we tested it. And then into a 200 meter jerry can carry, which are 2 like sandbags basically with handles, into a 200 meter sandbag carry, and then the last part is upstairs in a bear hug. But before the stairs, you can carry it however you'd like. And I don't think anyone trains that distance of sandbag with a 200 or ever has. So I think it's going to be very interesting.
That stone is 200 pounds.
That thing, yeah, it's the cheddar chunk sucker.
Did
Whatever
anyone
they-
drop
Husafeld.
it when you tested it?
Husafeld.
Did anyone, when you tested the Husafeld, did anyone drop it on the stairs?
No one will go unbroken on this. No one. No, I guarantee you, if anyone hangs on to that bag the entire time, I'm quitting CrossFit.
Bro,
That bag-
Roman's about to do it, James.
Bro, if your back is too strong for CrossFit in that case. Like my back was broken after this event.
What's the women's weight on the Husafeld?
150, and then their bags are 70s, and their pig is a 3.
50.
It's like a 350, right?
Yeah.
The
We got it
pig.
up there.
I think the pig is lighter than last year's.
Hey, so if you drop that thing on the stairs,
Yeah.
you got to pick it up on the stairs, and that's
Yes.
got to be awkward as shit.
Yeah. No, because there's flats on the stairs. I'm pretty sure. There's flats on the ones that they're doing it on. And it's weird. People are gonna eat crap on the stairs, I feel like, just because your posterior chain's pretty fatigued.
Can you push it like a sled push up the stairs?
No, it won't move because it's a chunk. It's like a weird shape. So I don't think it'd move very well.
Okay.
I think that'd be a no rep.
How are they going to get them down the stairs when they're done?
You
The
just throw it.
demo team will do all of that.
You guys are good dudes.
Yeah, that's what we do.
36, John Young. Thank you. That's awesome. You sharing that with us, James.
Brian will probably get me on the pronunciation of this guy's name, but Guillaume Bryant.
Oh, Gay May Bryant.
Oh, God.
Okay. 37.
Guillaume?
37, Brian.
Guillaume Briand.
Guillaume Briand.
That's a cool name.
He should spell it that way.
It's not
That's
cool when John
dope.
says this.
Now this guy is probably going to win an event. For
Maybe.
sure a second. For sure a second.
If he makes it there,
Where
It's on Saturday.
where was he from?
France.
France.
He's French. He
Oh, I
qualified.
remember watching him.
Yeah, from strength and depth.
National team, swimmer on the national team. I think it's like some European country where like they swim for, they take pride in that shit.
I feel like with the amount of events there are at the CrossFit Games, if you're taking an event win in one event, there's going to be an event pretty close or similar to that event. If there's that many tests, that you're going to have more than one top finish. I feel like.
Not for
As a
this
swimmer?
guy.
Like if you're a swimmer, then scratch that. But everything else, like there's multiple running tests, there's multiple weightlifting tests,
Or biking. If there's biking, James, that's another one. I mean, it's probably Ricky's going to win it if it's biking, and he has a good chance of winning another event, I guess, as good as any. But
for sure, I'd love to see that.
Do we know it's the swimming event after the cut or no?
The cut's on
No,
Saturday
that's
night, so no. So the swimming event everyone will do.
Okay.
John Young, 37.
Augustine Rihelme.
Brian, 38.
Augustine Riquelme.
38, John Young.
Enrico Zanoni.
Now that's a good place. 39, Brian.
Artur Semenov.
And 39, Mr. Young.
Archer Semenov.
And 40, Brian.
Keelan Henry.
Have you seen Keelan Henry?
I did. I had an amazing conversation with him today. He's a very, very nice guy. Very smiley, excited to be here.
John Young, who do you have at 40?
Same. We both have Keelan Henry.
Who is Brian's just most outrageous placement?
At the top or in the middle or at the bottom? He's got one risky pick for every section here.
So at 33, he's got. Let me tell you some of the ones I think. At 33, he's got Colton. At 24, he's got Jay Crouch.
I'll tell you, his most bold picks are Quant, Grieshaber, and Dallin.
Yeah, Dallin.
You think Quant is a more bold pick than Spencer Panchik?
And Spencer. I forgot about Spencer.
I feel like Quant could
Yes.
be higher.
Who?
I feel like Quant could be higher due to the fact that last year he was sick and the year before he was second. And he's not sick anymore and he's got all his stuff taken care of. And personally, I trained with him and he did not have a good training situation going into the Granite Games. And now it's been all figured out going to the games. So I think he's going to do pretty well.
I told these guys about a while ago, James. I thought something about him looked good to me today.
Yeah.
Just like the way he was carrying himself.
Did he give you a good hug too?
I didn't hug Sam Quant. The other good hugs today were from Facundo.
Oh, nice.
Lazar.
Nice. Damn, Brian gets around.
You didn't give Dallin a hug, Brian?
Dallin. I'm always a little nervous to hug Dallin that he's just gonna like break my ribs.
Did you hug Danielle Brandon?
I did not see her today. I saw. I was there for a majority of the men's check-in. I was not there for a majority of the women's check-in.
James, did you get to see the check-in at all?
No, I did not. I was actually not there today, unfortunately.
Brian, what is John Young's pick that you're like it's so bad that you're like he's just fucking with us?
Probably the first pick.
I can't see his whole list in front of me. Like I guess I could try to find it, but
he's got Patrick Vellner in first place. He has Guy in ninth. He's got Noah in 14th. Noah in 14th.
Crazy picks.
Oh no, he doesn't have Noah in 14th. Sorry, he has Noah in 13th.
So I mean, I obviously I think he's high on Colton. I think he's low on Quant. I think his picks are pretty conservative overall.
Here we go. Stand back, Mr. Hiller. How can I help you?
Yo, can you tell James to let Street know he should pick his phone up?
Tell James to
trying
what?
to get a hold of Street Horner. Trying to get a hold of Street Horner.
Oh, geez. Dude, this is a podcast. This is the biggest podcast in the CrossFit space. This is not your personal fucking calling service.
Yeah, I know, but you have 800 people watching. I need James to tell Street to pick up his phone.
Do you want to talk
now.
shit to John or Brian? That's the question.
I don't even know if I have this man.
I want to talk shit to anybody who put Noah Ohlsen anything under the podium.
He's on track if he thinks that's going to happen.
The most popular man in CrossFit. Mr. Hiller, thank you for calling.
Bye, Hiller.
Thanks, Sevan. See you guys. Bye.
Was that for real or is that a joke?
No, he really thinks Noah's going to be on the podium.
Oh, I meant the other thing too.
I know.
No, I don't think that's a joke. I don't think that's a joke.
I'm confused. I'm just his hitman now.
Brian, what would you consider your worst pick?
That worst pick. I mean, I know that I made some bold picks, and that I probably ranked all the guys that John said higher than most people would have them, and I probably ranked. Yeah, I mean, it was tough to put Travis outside the top 20. It was tough to put Jay outside the top 20. Tough to put Houdet like 8 spots or 9 spots lower than he finished last year. But that's just the nature of the competition. I think that there are enough new guys in this field and some guys who've made some significant steps forward since last year that there's going to be guys that that feel like they competed really well and are sitting here saying, what the heck, why is my finishing placement lower?
John, who would you, by the way, Earbud Hiller made a video where he ranked all the athletes based on their Instagram following, and Noah was at the top. John, what do you think is your pick that concerns you the most, your worst pick?
I'm probably Colton, because I took a risk that there will be an event that he could smash, because he's either going to be near the bottom at most events, and if he doesn't get an event that he can that's a body weight movement event or a barbell cycling event that he can just smash, then he's going to be near the bottom. And I'm just banking that there's going to be one or two of those.
Has there ever been an athlete like Colton Mertens at the CrossFit Games? By that, I mean someone who's such an outlier. Is Cody Anderson in that group, or is Colton beat him? Is Colton?
I'd say the closest thing is Josh Bridges, but I don't think Josh was as much of an outlier. Or Chris Spieler.
That's what I was going to say.
But the competition wasn't as fit as it is now. I think he's as much of an outlier that we can have.
Brian?
As far as a games field goes.
That's well said.
James, how many you tested that workout, the workout they released today?
Yes, I did.
And have you tested a bunch of workouts?
I have done some stuff.
How is the workout with the rope climbs?
Didn't do that.
Is there anything else you can tell us? When's the next workout going to be announced?
Don't know, actually.
What time
I actually don't know.
What time do you report tomorrow?
That's a good question too.
Who are you sharing a room with?
No one.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. I'm lonely here, bro.
Wow.
It sucks.
Oh, really? It sucks. You would wish you shared a room with someone?
Yeah, I mean, I love being around people.
Are you close to Brian's room?
Brian, are you in the Edgewater?
No.
Oh, dang.
Oh, you're balling, dude.
I was
You're
gonna say,
balling.
I'll come cuddle. They have these athletes all over the elevator. It's pretty cool.
It's very cool.
One day I'll be there.
Guys, is there anything else anyone would like to add to this? We're doing the women tomorrow? Who do you feel you feel better about the women than you do the men?
As far as the top goes, yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, that's well said. I feel like 1 through 15, I feel pretty good about the women. I would say like 15 to 30 is a little bit tougher for the women. There's a lot of athletes that I just don't know as much about or haven't seen compete as much recently.
There's very distinct tiers in the women. At least I feel like there is, all the way down to what Brian said, around 15.
Tomorrow at 12 noon Pacific Standard Time, we have Ricky Garard coming on the show. Then at 12:45, we have Jay Crouch and Rob Forte. And then at 6 p.m., we will tell you who's going to win the 2022 CrossFit Games 1 through 40 in the women's division with Brian Friend, John Young, and possibly James Sprague. If
have me on, bro.
Yeah, have him on. Anything else, guys?
Spoiler alert, James Sprague has picked Emma Carey to win the women's division.
Bro, that's it.